Okay.
So, The Flash. This was a movie that was filmed and released in theaters.
Yes, or as
All
I've
right,
been, or as
so
I've been calling it,
I think we've covered it. I think we've.
yeah, or as I've been calling it, 3 bats, 2 Flash, and a Supergirl.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
kind of did the Flashpoint story to a certain extent.
Kinda.
They jumbled some things around.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll go ahead and say one thing. Cancel me if you want. I thought the Flashpoint Paradox movie was better than this.
Oh, absolutely, it was. Absolutely, it was.
Like, if you look at my Letterboxd, you'll see.
No, go on. Yeah, I was
just going to say, if you look at my Letterboxd, I gave it a 3-star review. In my opinion, 3-star means I won't go to theater to see it. If you see it on streaming, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't recommend this for theaters. I don't.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Bobby?
There are some good things to say about this movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There are some good things. I'm getting to that.
Yeah. There's stuff to be said there.
I'm getting to that. There's actually a great bit from my experience about that, so I'm going to get into that. There's some good things to be said about this, though. I mean, I feel structurally it's kind of a better showing from DC than in the past. Like, they actually tried to tell a cohesive story here. I just don't think the writers knew much about multiverse and DC world. I think there's one elephant in the room that we need to discuss about this before we kind of start talking about our thoughts of plot and all that. There is some horrendous CGI in this. Yeah, the baby in the microwave scene, which that I kind of... Yeah, there was... This CGI was just... It was rough. Like, I think the first time that he went into that Coliseum of Time or whatever, and we see some of the graphics, I think I might have audibly went, really?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Is this supposed to be a joke?
No, it's... So listen, like, the first time you really notice it, like, there's some spottiness, but, like, when you really notice it, it's like he's doing this Gotham cleanup, and Batman tore up this stuff, so Flash is just running around cleaning up the mess of Batman, and a whole bunch of babies fall out of a hospital. He has to save them all. And it looks like cartoon babies. Like, we're a step away from, like, Baby Herman from Roger Rabbit.
No, like, do you remember that dancing baby in the early days of the internet?
Yeah. What? Ally McBeal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It kind of looked like that.
Yes, it did. And I was like, and here's the deal. I was actually even willing to give it a pass for how bad those babies look. So,
yeah.
We're dealing with babies falling out of a building. Maybe we don't want them to look too realistic.
Yeah, I could understand that. So I kind of just, all right, cool. I'm just gonna let that one slide because I thought the same thing. Like, well, you really don't want that looking too realistic. So, and they're always hard to animate, I guess. So,
yeah. But then we get to, like, the Coliseum, and we get to pretty much all the other CGI in the movie, and it is of the exact same quality. And I'm like, oh god, this is really bad. You know how like I brought up before, and I don't think I've said it on stream, so I'll go ahead and say it on stream right now. Thor: Love and Thunder can be used as a positive example on CGI usage over this easily.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
And those goats were more convincing than the CGI in The Flash.
Not even close, yeah. All the wonkiness in that movie, all the issues I had with the effects in that movie, nothing compares to this. This, I'm not going to lie, this feels like they had a movie mostly done, and they just said, "Fuck it, we're rebooting anyway. Just release it."
Yeah,
that's really what this feels like.
That CGI on Batman early in the movie too, or on Ben Affleck's Batman, that was bad. Like that was just like early PS4 or early Xbox graphics. Like
yeah,
bad.
Yeah, it's so bad.
And I mean that there are some good points how they did take some liberties with like the Flashpoint paradox story.
Yes,
or as from what I understand it to be, which
they
I
take liberties. I will
DC
say
story or the DC
more or less it's kind of faithful, but yeah, they do take some liberties. It's I would never call it 1-to-1, and they never should be 1-to-1. I think the most obvious thing is like the whole Man of Steel event is used to replace the war between Aquaman and Wonder Woman as the end of world event in this universe.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Another thing that's interesting because, okay, spoilers. Wonder Woman and Aquaman are both in this fucking movie.
They both cameo in it briefly.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like they could have actually done that, but they didn't.
No.
So I guess, I mean, the Superman stuff and the Man of Steel stuff, I guess it's fine, but like, I don't feel like they really do enough with it for it to really work great.
No.
In fact, I would say one of my complaints, like going past this, the horrendous CGI, my other big complaint about this is that everything in this universe feels kind of weightless when we're in this other universe. Like it feels like it doesn't matter. And it feels like when we meet Michael Keaton Batman. By the way, that was one of the strengths, seeing Michael Keaton Batman back. I loved seeing him back. He does a great job. In fact, I'd say all the actors do a great job. I don't think anybody does a bad job here. So, but we see Michael Keaton Batman back, and he explains the timelines to Flash. And, you know, he explains, listen, you don't actually change time when you go back in time. When you do stuff like that, you're just going to another timeline. I was like, okay, so we're adding some weight to the fact that this is another timeline, this whole another universe. It's still important. You know, okay, cool. And then at the end of the movie, they just flush that all away anyway. So, yeah, we're not even going to be consistent with that rule.
No. Now, I think the one thing I did want to talk about, you brought up Michael Keaton. That was really, really awesome to see. They kind of still kept the Kryptonian imprisoned, you know, that was still similar, but instead it was Kara, his niece, which I like that. That was cool. Yeah. I wish that we could have a movie about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
now, there is one particular thing I did want to talk about it. Now, I could tell that this moment was meant to be very sentimental and just, you know, very paying tribute to the past of DC and all of its forms, where they showed the old black and white Superman, the one with George Reeve, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Yes.
And
I wasn't ready.
Yeah, and then they had the one with Christopher Reeve in the Supergirl movies from the 70s, which I saw this. I knew by the silhouette before the review. I knew, I'm like, oh, well, that's Christopher Reeve. I recognize that head anywhere. And then the reveal came of it, and it was just, ooh.
Yeah. Wolf. Like when it's slowly coming into, it's slowly coming into focus, and you're thinking it's okay, and then when you get it fully in focus, like, ooh.
Oh, I was like, oh, woof. Oh, God. Oh, I mean, I was audibly reacting at this point. This movie was, Then it showed an outline of another superhero, another Superman. And I mean, it was dark and brooding, and I saw like a hairline on a cape, and I knew instantly. And I saw him flying up, fighting the fucking giant spider. I knew then. I mean, when the spider came, I was no fucking way.
Yeah.
And then that reveal came, and then everyone in the theater went, "Oh, okay." Nobody really got it, and I think I might have been the only one to catch that reference.
Well, I mean, they made such a big deal. I think Superman Lives, and like the big deal was like he fights a robot spider, and we get that, but Again, it will look better if the CGI was finished. Because as it is, it feels so half-assed.
It looked like a cutscene. It looked like a PS2 cutscene.
And I want to stress, the director, who is a very talented director, he's done very good stuff. But he's come out and said the reason the CGI looks the way it is because we're supposed to be seeing things from Flash's point of view. I really dislike that he did that. Because obviously he's trying to help protect the studio and be like, hey, this is, come up with an excuse for why this movie is clearly incomplete.
It was a choice. It was a choice. Yeah. And I mean, if that's what it is, okay.
But I think it would have been much more based of him to come out and say, hey, the issue with this is that CGI animators aren't unionized and they need to start getting paid properly for their work.
And they're overworked. And they're overworked.
Yep. I think that would have been much better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not...
Yeah, he's supposed to work under James Gunn's DC, so I'm sure he wants to get more work. He is a very good director, so I want to see what he does next for DC. But this, like I said, this is incomplete. We have enough for a movie, and I felt like they went, okay, we're rebooting anyway, push this out. And it feels like a special waste, because like that Batgirl movie just got canned. That just got completely fucking shit canned. And then they were talking about, well, this one is so goddamn good, we have to release it, guys. It's so good. And then we get it. And it's like, listen, this isn't the worst movie ever, but...
Really?
Fucking no. This is not like so goddamn good.
Was Batgirl that bad? Was Batgirl that bad?
I refuse to believe Batgirl was remotely that bad.
No, I completely agree with you. I refuse to believe that's the case at all.
But yeah, like... This just desperately, like, okay, two things I love about this movie. I love Michael Keaton's Batman. I love that moment, that scene in that store where Barry and his mom get to talk for a little bit. That is such a great scene. In fact, I will actually even go in there, despite all their problems, I think Ezra Miller does a good job in this. They have actually... two roles. Ezra plays like two Flashes in this, and spoilers, obviously the one Flash eventually becomes the villain, which is a very underwhelming final confrontation, by the way.
I mean, it's kind of Reverse Flash in a way.
Kinda. Like, I feel like it's Reverse Flash, but not really. It's weird. I'm not even sure what they're trying to do with it.
Yeah, it kind of was, sort of.
Yeah. Like, the character is always wearing yellow throughout the movie, so it feels like he's definitely coded to be Reverse Flash.
I thought so that with the trailer. Yeah. I was like, oh, they're gonna make him Reverse Flash. That's okay.
Yeah, I remember you called it, and I was like, oh, I think you're right. That has to be right. He's wearing yellow.
So I mean, in a way, yeah. Did you hear that phone ringing, Bob?
Yeah. But yeah, overall, not a great movie. What did you think of the Eric Stoltz Back to the Future reference?
It was funny the first time, and I know after the repeated times, I'm thinking, wow, are they going to show us some like more like footage of him as,
I know, like they kept on doing it. It's like, are we going to like dig up some footage? Because if we're not going to dig up some footage, this joke seriously needs to end.
No, we're not. Oh, so this joke's dead on arrival. Okay.
Yeah. And I think like the first time won't have been good, and then maybe like do it a couple more times with other things, not just constantly Eric Stoltz stars in Back to the Future. But that was it. That was the only one they had, and that not great. But yeah, so I gave it the score in my Letterboxd. I would wait for streaming to watch this. I would not go out of your way to see it. It's not terrible, but man, it's got problems. It is not worth the theater visit. I would actually recommend watching Guardians 3 again or Across the Spider-Verse again. Two vastly superior movies, in my opinion. Did
you happen to pick up the kind of one, I think that they were trying to make a meta joke in this? And I cringed at this. And it was after the CGI baby scene and everything, where the Flash had said, hey, sometimes after a traumatic experience, it's good to seek counseling through a medical professional.
Yeah.
Justice League's real bad at that. Trust me, I know. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking, ew?
Yeah, it does feel out of place. Yes, Walton Gromit fan. I did praise Ezra Miller. I thought they did a good job in the movie. I'm not going to comment on the personal stuff because it sounds like they are a wreck. But yeah. Yeah. The Flash isn't great, guys. Oh yeah, and do we want to talk about like the obvious throwaway joke at the end of the movie that was obviously changed at the last minute?
Oh yeah. You mean their end credits scene that just like was well worth the wait?
Oh, we could talk about the end credit scene, but I was also thinking of the joke right before the credits.
What's that?
Well, he's getting the call from Batman, and there's always this there's this wonder of who it's going to be, and I'm certain it was originally filmed to be Michael Keaton because they talked about how Michael Keaton was going to be the DCEU Batman after this movie. But since it's all getting rebooted, it sounds like they got a last-minute cameo. So the DCEU Batman is now George Clooney, guys.
Well,
DCEU,
that part I'll say was spoiled for me.
Oh, really?
A radio station. Radio station. They just said, yeah, even Clooney's in it too. And I'm just, dude, like I'm going to see it tonight, really. But when you heard like Bruce, like, don't worry, I'm pulling around now, and I was like, that wasn't Ben Affleck. Like that wasn't Ben.
Yeah,
Affleck.
The voice sounded off. I was like, who is that? Yeah, I was assuming Ben Affleck or Michael Keaton, and
Also, one thing I wanted to mention, I was very impressed with Ben's performance just as Bruce in this.
Yeah, he gets a couple moments at the beginning where he's decent. Yeah, he's telling Barry, hey, Barry's like, I could go back in time and save your parents, and he's like, I don't know if I'd want that because it would just change everything. I will say I thought George Clooney was okay as Bruce. But
agreed.
I think he could do a good job, but like, no, not in that.
He could be a better Bruce Wayne.
I mean, you say like I don't think George Clooney is a bad actor, but when you call him the worst Batman, and I look at the other Batman actors, I'm like, I can't think of anybody who's done it worse.
He's the worst Batman, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of people I've heard a lot of people criticize like Christian Bale's Bat voice.
Yeah, you can criticize his Bat voice, but he does a decent job overall in the role, honestly.
Yeah,
looking past the voice.
There are some bad lines.
Didn't even try.
He does have some bad lines as Batman in those movies.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's great seeing Michael Keaton back. Ben Affleck does a solid job as Batman. You get cameos by Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Did you want to talk about the post-credit scene?
Yeah, the him and Aquaman going out and getting drunk.
It brought the whole movie together. Without that post-credit scene, the movie makes no sense, by the way.
Yeah. Sure, because I didn't even know why. It's like, okay, so he's just drinking with Arthur, and...
Yeah. There's like no point to that scene. I guess to establish that
he is in a different universe.
Is still Aquaman. Yeah, he's in a different universe, but like, they're obviously just like this movie feels like they're just flushing this universe away. Mm-hmm. Honestly, they're doing throwaway jokes. I mean, they're not going to do a movie with George Clooney returning as Batman. That's not it.
Who's Superman in that universe then?
Who knows? I said, I'd be shocked for getting more Michael Keaton Batman after this. That being said, it was nice to give him another final outing. It was fun.
Yeah. He still can look left or right, though.
Yeah. He had that robotic look to his suit, and I was like, I kind of missed that. It gives him his own little form. It doesn't make sense for a superhero, but like.
But I mean, most of the Batman. Well, most of the Batman we saw of the Keaton Batman was CGI, though.
True.
Not good CGI.
Yeah. No. There was no CGI that was good here at all.
Oh.
But yeah, The Flash. Disappointing. Save your money and watch Flashpoint Paradox till this is streaming.
Yeah.
That'll give you your fix. I'm trying to think, was there anything else I want to bring up? Sasha Kali, I think, played Supergirl. I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah, she was good.
I'd like to give her more of an opportunity in the role, but probably not. Probably not.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.